Episode 3. Awesome. Thank you for tuning in again. Pleasure to be with you this evening, afternoon, or morning, or whenever you're listening to the podcast. Excited that you're here. Last week, actually not last week, last episode, kind of cool. Did the top 10 TV shows, my personal top 10. Maybe do some other top 10 variants in the very near future, because I always find those a lot of fun. And making lists are cool. I like it. So definitely we'll do that again. So yeah, a funny thing happened today. So I for the last, I don't even know how long, I've turned off the ability for YouTube to remember anything. And not just YouTube. Like, I set this up in my Google settings. I went into Google and I was like, all right, like, what is this thing keeping track of and what is it not keeping track of? Because, I don't know, I'm paranoid and I just wanted to know. And the fact of the matter is, like, Google tracks everything. everything. And you go into those settings. It literally took me about, I don't know, maybe 20 minutes, a half hour. And I'm no slouch when it comes to like technology. Like, I kind of know my way around shit or whatever, but that was a long time to like go through those settings. And there were some of the settings where like you could shut this off if you don't want it to like track this or track that, but after a certain period of time, it'll turn back on without your knowledge. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me right now? Like, I could actually turn off security. I could turn off security features and they'll just turn back on without my say so. Like, that's just the way it is. Like, you have no idea how important and how valuable your personal information is. And by valuable, I'm not talking about like it means a lot to you. It has emotional value. It has whatever. No, I'm talking about monetary value. Knowing what you love and what you want to buy and what you hate and what you this and what you that. Like, everyone talks about privacy, but like, we set up like psychological profiles for ourselves on pretty much everything that we own. Almost everything. Almost. And I was like, you know what? Like, I just felt creeped out that like the YouTube suggestions were just getting smarter and smarter. And you know what I started realizing? I started realizing that it just kind of put me in it did what it was supposed to do. It showed me things that it thought I wanted to see. But like, what if I wanted to see things like I didn't want to see? I mean, I know that sounds weird, but hear me out. Like, what if I want to hear an opposing viewpoint? You know what I mean? Like, what if I want to hear something contrary to what I think? Like, I almost felt like I wasn't being challenged by the suggestions anymore. I don't know. Maybe I'm looking too much into it, but like, you know, like, I just felt it weird that it just, you know, some sort of algorithm is being compiled based on what I like and what I don't like, and is literally getting to know me as the years go on, as I keep on inputting information into it. So, you know, I was like, you know what? That's it. I'm cutting it off. So I turned it off, and it's been going on for quite some time now. And I started looking at the suggestions now, and the suggestions have none of my personality in it. None of it. Like, it doesn't know me at all. So these are the YouTube suggestions I get now. Can Lego break a steel axle? All right. The most horrifying planets ever discovered. Cool. Midwest Drag Week final day. 6 seconds is hurt. Can it pull off an upset? All right. Let's see. Victim's daughter puts in pizza order with 911 to signal domestic. Jesus, to signal domestic violence. Oh, she must have been like, I need a pizza. Wow. Oh well. Thank God someone figured that out. 20 common mistakes cat owners make. Mistake number 1: owning a cat. I know I made enemies on that one, but I don't know. I love dogs. I don't hate cats. I think if I wasn't allergic to them, maybe I would be more susceptible to possibly getting one. But, you know, dogs rule. All right. Let's see. Why do baboons steal lion cubs? What the hell? How? It's like it's like if the Lion King changed and and like Rafiki stole Simba and like oh man, it's they put out an APB on Rafiki for a missing child. It's an Amber Alert on the Pride Lands. Oh, I can't. What else is there? The magic of In-N-Out Burger. Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's good. The miracle of landing of Aloha Airlines Flight 243. Okay. Jesus. Homeowner was shocked. I mowed his overgrown lawn for free. Like this is the stuff it recommends me now. This is like the recommendations for like a piece of sheetrock, you know, like something with zero personality in it whatsoever. I can't believe it. That's what. So yeah, if you turn up, and it's weird because like normally you look at you go into YouTube and you look at the suggestions and you're like, what's it got for me today? Oh boy. You know, maybe, you know, you're on your break or, you know, you're about to drop a deuce or whatever. And you're just like, I'm going to watch some YouTube. Like this recommends nothing to me. Like if I want to find something, if I want something to watch, I'm going to have to look for that shit. And by look for it, like I'm going to have to go in like a regular person, hit search and find out what I want. You know what I do? I challenge everyone. I challenge everyone to go through like whatever has suggestions or like keeps the history, just shut it off and see what happens. It's actually cool. But one of the cool parts is that I just wasn't hit in the face with shit I already know. You know, like, okay. Like, it just put me in a, what do they call them? An echo chamber. That's how I kind of felt. I felt like I was just talking with people who, not talking with people, but like I was interacting with content creators that, you know, where we agree on pretty much everything. But where's the fun in that, you know? What's an idea if it can't be challenged? It's just, I don't know. I feel like it's not an idea. I feel like all ideas have to be challenged. You know, that's how we know whether or not you're full of shit. You know what I mean? Like, you know, be challenged, you know? Step outside of that little box and see what else is out there. Honestly, if I didn't do that years ago, God, I don't even know where I would be right now. But I think it's worth it, you know, to challenge ideas and to have your ideas be challenged. And I don't think anyone should be afraid of it. I think sometimes it's scary because I think people put some sort of, you know, an emotional ownership with their ideas, you know. You know, sometimes, yeah, I guess, you know, we get attached to things. It could be ideas. It could be people, you know. It could be anything. And I think people are afraid to, sometimes some people are afraid to put their ideas out there because they feel like it's a judgment on them. And, you know, it's not, I don't think that's fair, you know, because then that doesn't create an environment in which people could express ideas. And, you know, sometimes you have to hear the wrong ideas to get to the right ones. You know what I mean? I mean, like, I won't get into too much detail on it, but like, you know, when I do things at work, it's sometimes, you know, you fail before you could succeed, and you can't succeed without those failures because each of those failures are a learning experience. And I feel like if you don't challenge an idea, or if you don't allow your ideas to be challenged or feel comfortable enough to put your ideas out there and let them be challenged, then, you know, how do you know if they're right? How do you know if they're wrong? How do you know if they need to be, you know, altered in some way, shape, or form? You know, it's surprising how easy we could get kind of caught up into our own, I don't know, like we circle the wagons on shit. You know what I mean? DC versus Marvel, Mets versus Yankees, this versus that. Yeah, I mean, every once in a while, sometimes you gotta, you know, you gotta cross the trenches and talk to the other side and see what's going on. You know? That's another challenge, you know. Have your allow your ideas to be challenged. You know what I mean, and be open to the fact that you might be wrong, because it is possible. Not for me, I'm always right, but I'm wrong. I'm wrong some of the time, very rarely, but I could be wrong. But you know, it's okay to be wrong. It's okay to be wrong. Why? Because that's another step on the journey to being right. And you can't just, be right all the time. Like, it's just impossible. Like, every idea I feel should be challenged. And I feel like that's the best way for ideas to be cultivated. So you should allow yourself to be challenged. Don't get caught up in the suggestion swirl of whatever site that you're on, and it's just going to feed you all the stuff that you like, and everyone's going to tell you, you're right, yay, because you're not always right. You could be wrong. Or the other person could be wrong. Who knows? But you won't know that unless you open up the opportunity to explore that for yourself. When so I had this, I had my friend over, Nicole. She's one of my oldest friends, and we were eating Chinese food as we were wont to do. And we had a fortune cookie. She had hers. I had mine. And I didn't open it at the time because I think I was just distracted doing whatever. But I decided I wasn't going to open the fortune cookie until I did the first episode of this podcast. So, and whatever it would be, whatever. It could say, the milk of, I don't know, the milk of March could be sour in June. I don't know. It could have said whatever. But here's what it said. Nothing in life is to be feared. It is only to be understood. Being wrong isn't something to be feared. It should be something to be understood. Understand the reasons for what got you. Just like when you're right, the reasons and the reasons and how you got there are just as important as getting there. And it's the same thing as being wrong. The reasons and ways that you got there are just as important as getting there. So don't be afraid of it, because it's learning, and learning is good, and learning means growth, and learning means new opportunities and unexplored frontiers, God, I wish I had the Star Trek thing programmed into this. I wish I had more sound bites in here. It would add to the fun. But yeah, allow yourself to go on that journey. Don't rob yourself of that experience. I know this sounds weird. Don't rob yourself the experience of being proven wrong. That's a good one. Put that on a t-shirt. Next. So, things are opening up. COVID is slowly creeping into our rear view, which is awesome, right, for us. And I'm pretty excited because things opening up means okay, I'll just put this out there right now. My New York Islanders are kicking ass right now. All right. Just beat the Bruins. Amazing series. On our way to face Tampa Bay next. It's a tough challenge, but I have faith. I have hope that we can make it. Got all four lines are playing strong, so I'm liking this. Anywho, but so when I think earlier in the series, I was like, you know what? I got to try and get a ticket. I was like, I got to go to one of these. I got to go to one of these games. Like, you have to understand something. I'll give you a little bit of backstory on me. Eric, fun fact, 24. All my teams are pretty much losers. All the teams that I root for. All right. I'm a born and raised New Yorker. Born in Throsneck in the Bronx. Somehow I became a Mets fan. I'm a New York Islanders fan, as proven already. New York Knicks fan. New York Jets fan. That's like that's a long time to be miserable. You know what I'm saying? I like to call myself a long-suffering fan, especially because I'm a fan of all those teams. Don't get me wrong; they've had their shining moments throughout my life, but I have never gone to a championship parade on behalf of a team that I have rooted for since I was a child. I have not gone to a championship parade, period. And that sucks because I'd like to go. It would be cool to go to the parade. So again, obviously COVID ending, which means parade should be coming back, which would be great because hopefully my Islanders will be needing of one in the very near future. So I digress. So I go and I'm looking for tickets. I go on StubHub, and there's such like a pathetic, small amount of tickets. And it got me thinking, like, this happens every single time I try and buy tickets to anything. every single time I try and buy tickets to something, they're just like gone in a hot second. Like, I'm a big pro wrestling fan, which I think I might have mentioned already. I'm a huge pro wrestling fan, and I every single time I try and get tickets to one of these events, it's just like I'm waiting there, and the countdown's there, and they're all just gone. And then, but like, there's like a shit ton of them on like StubHub and all this stuff, and it's like I look at them like fucking scalpers, man. And like I see this everywhere. I see this everywhere. You could be a sports fan. You could be looking for an Xbox Series X or a PlayStation 5. I know many of you are still on the lookout for one. I'm still trying to hunt down a PS5 for myself. It's almost impossible. Why? It's like that preacher on YouTube. Why? It's because some piece of shit out there is there with is in a group in the same room with like a fuck ton of people trying to buy like 60,000 of them. All right. It sucks. And I see this, I see this in real life too. People just coming in and just buying massive quantities of something. And then when you're an individual person trying to get it, you can't find it because they went out there and they teamed up with a whole bunch of people and bought a whole bunch of the same shit that you wanted so that they could mark it up. All right. That's some bullshit. Now, I know I have some of my friends out there who've bought like multiple ones or whatever. I'm not talking like you bought 3 or 4 or 5. I'm talking about those motherfuckers who buy like an entire section of tickets. I'm talking about those people who buy like half the container of Xboxes. You know what I mean? It's like it's out of control. It's out of control because it's just like, why am I bothering trying to buy like tickets from the box office when somebody somehow, I don't know how, but somehow, even though I'm on a computer at home waiting for the countdown for this thing to be up, and then I go in and I try and buy these tickets, and they've been bought by the hundreds of thousands. Unbelievable. It's got to stop. I don't know how this could be stopped. I don't know how we could stop people from just buying like a ridiculous... It's like the toilet paper thing. Hoarders, just buying a whole bunch of shit. I wonder if people were selling... I wonder if people were selling marked up toilet paper on eBay during the quarantine. I bet you there was. And there was some sorry sap who, they had to have that Uber Eats and they had that Popeyes chicken come in. My chicken for Popeyes, and what happens after Popeyes? We all know it. I don't think anyone out there is immune to what happens after you eat a good batch of Popeyes. All right. It's going into the YouTube cube, if you know what I mean, You're going out there looking at all your suggestions because you're going to be there for a while, right? But where was I going with that? Oh, the chicken for Popeyes. Oh, yeah, the hoarding of the toilet paper, yeah. And this poor motherfucker, he's on the bowl, and he just ate all that Popeyes, and he's watching all those suggested videos from YouTube that are telling him everything that he wants, and he's feeling good about himself. He's like, yes. Then he goes to reach for that. He goes to reach for that one square. And you just hear that little roll, that empty pathetic roll when you know there's no more squares. And then you're just like, let me grab another. And you go and you reach over to that cabinet over there. You put your hand in there and you're blind. You don't want to leave the seat. It's so warm. And you're just sitting there and you're like, no, it's not there. So I'm like, all right, you know what? I got Target to go. I'm going to order it. I'm going to have it delivered to my house. I could sit here I got a whole YouTube cube. I could sit on this shitter forever. All right, it's my throne. You're sitting there, you're chilling out. And you go, and Target's got nothing. You're like, oh, man. I don't know what I'm going to do. YouTube wasn't, not YouTube. Uber Eats wasn't picking up from 7-Eleven back then. They sure as fuck are now. What am I going to do? So you're just like, why is there no more toilet paper? You start Googling it. Toilet paper shortage. I don't know how the fuck that happened, man. I don't know how that happened. But you're like, all right, so you're desperate. You're like, you know what? I'm gonna go on eBay. I'm gonna see if I can find some TP. All right. And you go and you see, there it is. Nice, cushy 2-ply. Like a cloud is caressing your buttocks. All right. And you're just like, that's what I need right now. Yeah, after all that Popeyes, it's a hot volcano down there. And then you go and you look at the price, and it's about $500. It's about the price of an Xbox One X. And you're like, oh, shit, I got to buy it. You just drop half your paycheck on toilet paper because some son of a bitch out there went out there and cleaned all of aisle 6. That's bullshit. That's bullshit. If you hoard stuff, F you, man. F you, bro. That's not fair, dude. I just want one. You have 60 and you're going to mark that shit up. Unbelievable. So as I was mentioning before, I'm a big pro wrestling fan, and this weekend's a big pay-per-view. I don't know if I would consider it big. My relationship with pro wrestling is a little bit complicated right now. A lot of changes going on, and there was a live conference call between Triple H, Hunter Hearst Helmsley, his real name is Paul Levesque, who is very high up in the food chain in the WWE. This conference call was for members of the media to ask questions. They could be about the upcoming pay-per-view. It could be about the state of the company, because the company's been in flux right now. A lot of people have been getting laid off, and the company's been showing record profits. Now, I'm of the opinion that the particular product of WWE, I'm going to put Raw and SmackDown out there, they're fucking hot garbage. They suck. They suck for a really long time. And these ratings have been dropping like flies over the last several years. So I guess one of the reporters asked him a question. I don't remember exactly what the question was, but I sure as fuck remember the answer. So I think he was asked like, well, what do you do when people want to wonder where's talent going to go once they leave NXT? Now, NXT I would consider is their developmental. For any to put this in sports terms, it's kind of like their minor leagues. It's where people cut their teeth, they learn their craft, they become stars so they can move on to national television, which would be Raw, which is on Mondays on USA, and SmackDown, which is on Fridays on Fox. So that's the big time. That's where you make the big money. You're on national TV, all that exposure. Everyone knows WWE, The Rock, Stone Cold, Undertaker, So that's supposed to be the goal. But the problem is that those two particular shows are such hot garbage that when new and promising talent get moved up, they're not being used properly. And I promise you, this is not all meant to be a pro wrestling story. There's a point to this, so just bear with me. So he's asked, what do you how do you answer fans when they worry about where talent's gonna go after NXT? And he says, I don't know why they're worried about it. I don't know why they're looking too much into it. If they don't like it, then they just shouldn't watch. Really? If I don't like it, no shit, Sherlock. If I don't like it, I'm not gonna watch. All right. Number one, pro wrestling is a male soap opera. All right. Now, regardless if it's wrestling or Young and the Restless, all right, the reason why people keep tuning in is because there's a story, and there's a story that is appealing enough or enticing enough to have you watch on a regular basis, to make it quote unquote appointment television. You stop. It's what Breaking Bad was to me, and Banshee. All right, Banshee was on Friday nights at 10. Friday nights at 10. That was it. I don't care about it. That was my time to watch my show, and I know everyone's got one of those, so you know what I'm talking about. And he's talking about how I shouldn't care about the story and where people go. And I was like, the story is everything that matters. The story is everything that matters, no matter what medium we're talking about. We could be talking about movies. We could be talking about TV. Obviously, we could be talking about books or anything like that. But the story is what matters. And I take exception to the fact that, and I guess we could apply this to the whole like Marvel superhero movie craze or whatever. Everyone is just dissecting every little bit and piece of and morsel of information, and you got people on YouTube and Twitter and Instagram making a living off of just micro dissecting everything, and like it's not out of the question to ask for logical storylines in our pieces of entertainment and worthwhile payoffs. It's not outside the realm of reasonability to ask, all right? Worthwhile payoff. Want to know which one wasn't a worthwhile payoff? I mentioned this last episode. Game of fucking Thrones. That wasn't a worthwhile payoff. Dexter. That wasn't a worthwhile payoff. All right? It's like you can't bring people on a journey like that and then where it's designed to make you emotionally invested and all that stuff, but then tell them not to care. It's almost like you just want them to just, you want them to eat shit and call it caviar. Like, I think that's bullshit. That's utter bullshit. And I feel like nowadays that could, if you're an artist out there or you're like a content creator, that's a real shitty attitude to have towards your fans, all right? And this goes back to what I was saying earlier. Like, sometimes your fan base, it could be your conscience, It could call you out on shit. And I think sometimes that could also go with stories. Like, if some storylines are going off in the wrong direction, like, I think the fan base should be allowed to call people out on their bullshit. For example, when the first Venom trailer came out, they were calling it a symbiote. And fans were just outraged. Outraged they wanted to, they said it should be symbiote. That's how it was called, all the time. You want to know what happened? When Venom came out, they called that motherfucking thing a symbiote, all right? Oh, they called it, what was that? Oh, the wrong way. They called it, symbiote. Oh, it was awful. It was awful, but they changed it. Sonic the Hedgehog. I didn't bother seeing that piece of shit anyways, but apparently they changed it for the better, so hooray for the people who liked it. But, that's the only way, entertainment and things are going to get better. If you're creating something for a fan base, you got to be open to criticism about it. And you got to be open to accept that criticism and make the changes. I'm one of those people who can't understand, why can't they just make it like the comic? Why can't they just make it like the book? The fan base was already there from the original and the fan base was already there for the original material. And I get as someone who could be, I don't think I would say I would creative person, more of reactionary or imitative, but I don't think I'm innovative. But there are people out there who are innovative, who I respect immensely because they have the ability to create. But it's I get how you could be attached to what you create, but you got to be willing to change it. You got to be willing to change it because, I just don't get it. I really hope that WWE turns around and does better, because some of their main stuff right now is shit, and it makes me sad as a wrestling fan. That's something that should be immensely popular, and they have a wealth of talent. They're not going anywhere. They're not going anywhere. No, what's this name? Set pics leaked of Halo, the TV show it's going to be on Paramount, which everyone should get, just because, number one, if Halo's going to be on there, that's a great grab for Paramount, because that has a huge fan base, and if the show is good, it's going to increase their viewership immensely. It should already be increased by Yellowstone, which is a phenomenal show, and everyone should watch it. And I love Beth and Rip. They should be together forever. Put in that there right now. I ship them hard. But yeah, it's an exciting time, especially that show has been in developmental hell for years and years and years. I think the first time we ever heard about it was around Halo 3. That was a long time ago, and this show is still being made, but they actually have an actor. They're actually filming it. There's actual sets and stuff like that, so kudos. I'm liking it a lot. And they're making a Lord of the Rings anime. Oh my God. I love Lord of the Rings. I love it. If I do, I'm going to let you know right now, spoiler alert. If I ever do a movie top 10, Fellowship of the Ring is going to be number 1. So there you go right there. Everything else can never match up to that movie. That movie was fantastic. That movie got me into the books. When I watched that movie, by the time Two Towers came out, and they filmed them all at the same time, so each movie came out 1 year after the other. So it was Fellowship, and then 12 months later it was Two Towers, then 12 months later it was Return of the King, which still has an unbeaten record because it swept the Oscars. I think it won every category it was in, which is 11, has yet to be beat. That was Lord of the Rings, so suck it. All right? Lord of the Rings, the ultimate fantasy franchise. But yeah, they're gonna make an anime about they're gonna call it War of the Rohirrim. If you saw the movies or fans of the books, it was the what do you call it? The kingdom of horsemen, right? Anyone who, like, that whole group of people who were riding horsemen, those were the Rohirrim. All right, they were from the country of Rohan. All right, this is awesome. Now, the same person who's writing it is the same person who wrote the original Lord of the Rings. Even though Peter Jackson isn't directly involved, his wife is, who did the writing, who co-wrote the live action films. So the fact that she's writing the anime is great. And I think the guy who's doing the anime was the one who did Ghost in the Shell and Ultraman. Ultraman, I think, is on Netflix right now, which reminds me of man, this is a throwback. Does anyone remember Superhuman Samurai Cyber Squad? Like, this was back when superhero groups on like midday TV was like all the rage, because like Power Rangers were out. Then they had VR Troopers. Then they had Big Bad Beetleborgs and like all this stuff. It was like, it was like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles to like the 10th degree. And one of them, one of those groups eventually was Superhuman Samurai Cyber Squad. And there was a group of people, they jumped into a computer and they fought inside. They fought viruses and shit. And the enemy was Tim Curry, because he had this like really, you never saw his face, but he had the voice, and like, because Tim Curry's the man. But yeah, so I'm excited for that. As a Lord of the Rings fan, I am super excited for that. But yeah, I don't know. That's pretty much all that I got for you for today. There was just some things that I just had to share. Damn YouTube suggestions, bro. Freaking keeping track. Watch. They're gonna take oh my god, they took my YouTube history and like imbued that information into like a clone of me. Oh my god, I would have to take it out because there can only be one. But yeah, as I am recording this now, it is Friday, and it should be published later this afternoon. So for those of you who are listening as it is published, have an awesome weekend. Enjoy. Be safe. Have fun. And enjoy life, because life is precious, Have some fun. Put a smile on the face in the face of someone else. It's good things. Good things. But yeah, that's the end of the podcast, and I will see you guys next episode. Take care, and bye-bye.